Hey guys, Saturday afternoon. It's a hot one. You know, 28, 29 Celsius, so mid high 80s Fahrenheit. Um, Shop has a new mascot. It's a monkey, and I named him Chuck. He's a little camera shy right now, but I hope to get a shot of him a little further on in the video. But until then, I'm going to be getting after the small block. I want to get the timing set on. I want to get my valve springs changed and seals, and we'll get the lifters and push rods and rocker arms and all that stuff in. So everything up to, but not including the intake. Haven't gotten that in yet, but all the inside stuff. So we'll get that all done, and we'll be able to put some chrome bits on it and stuff like that. So yeah, new subscribers, thanks again. Keep it up, spread the word, man. It's working. And yeah, so we might as well just get to it. So let's do that. Okay, so my first order of business is to get the timing set installed. That's the crank gear, cam gear, and the chain that ties them together. Right now, number one cylinder is at top dead center, so the piston's all the way up. So when I do go to install these gears, they're over here soaking in oil. They've been soaking for a few days. You see these two dots here and here? They should line up just like that when they're on the engine. So then we know that the cam is in the right spot in relation to the crankshaft. So yeah, I'm going to get it out of this oil and wipe enough of it off that I can handle it, and we'll get these gears in place. Here's Chuck. That's right, it's a North American chipmunk. So yeah. So I got a peanut right there on my foot, and yeah, I don't blame you, buddy. Anyway, I called him Chuck because he's a well-traveled little guy. He's you might have seen him rocking on Bandstand, Philadelphia, PA, maybe down in deep in the heart of Texas, around Frisco Bay, all over St. Louis, down in New Orleans. All right, this is just silly. Let's get back to work. Oh, he's back. Let's see if he goes for it this time. I'll put it even higher. Oh yeah, no problem there, man. If I had three guys that worked as hard as that thing, I'd be laughing. All right, so my timing set is installed. Now, it's not rocket science. You get your crankshaft gear on first, and you'll notice the little dot at the top and the little dot at the bottom of the cam's gear. I had set number one cylinder, that's the front one here, to top dead center before I pulled off the old crank gear, and the dot was at the top of the old one. So I know I was in the right spot. So you put this one on first. I used a deep socket to kind of tap it to the end. It went on pretty easy over the first keyway. It was a little stiff on the second one, but like I said, just lightly tap it in place, and it went no problem. And then make sure you line up that dot, put your chain on the sprocket, fit it on over here, and yeah, just slip it on, and that's your pin. That's at the 3 o'clock position where it's supposed to be, and you line up the dots and put your bolts in. I use Loctite on the bolts, and they're torqued to 20 foot-pounds. So it's in. So I know that now the cam and the crankshaft are working together as they should, and that timing setup is right on. So I can crank this over, and I'm gonna have to crank it over a whole bunch of times when I do my valve springs, which is next. So yeah, timing set is in. No worries. Okay, so I'm halfway through on the valve springs. These are the old ones, 8 of them. I've put in new ones already on this side. So, I got 8 left to do. So I'm only going to show you one. I mean, there's no point in showing you all 16. It's same thing over and over again. I'm going to show you how to do it with about a 5-foot long piece of rope. Little tiny screwdriver, pair of skinny needle nose pliers, and this thing here. This is the spring compression tool. This thing is an asshole. There's all kinds of working parts and they're all wiggling around. You need 14 fingers to get this thing set up in the right spot. And if I had 14 fingers, I'd be a damn piano player. There's different kinds. There's kinds that you twist on. Same idea though. They hook on like this. These 2 hooks. But I think the best ones are the big lever fork type that you bolt it to the rocker arm stud, and then you just pull on it, and it's like a fork, and with leverage it compresses the spring. Simple, easy to get at, easy to do. This thing here, man, I did these 4, about 10 to 15 minutes a piece each. Then I got to this one, hour and a half, because the tool was just fighting me all the way. But anyway, so I'm gonna show one. Hopefully one of them goes slick, and I'll use it as the in the video. Because if it doesn't go slick, I don't think you'd be able to handle the language I'm using. So yeah. So oh yeah, and I also, to make things a little bit easier, I made this tool. This is the original crankshaft sprocket, and you can see the new one. The new one has a double set of teeth, right? Same with this one, the cam sprocket or gear. And this is a double roller timing chain. The original was just a single, and they were, the chain was not a roller, it was just a hard length chain. So I took the sprocket and welded an 1 1/4 12-point socket that I had in my junk drawer. And yeah, so that just slides on there. I'm gonna find the keyway here. There we go. And then you just, plug your ratchet in the end, and you can turn the engine either way. If you just use the bolt that's in the center of that thing, you can turn it clockwise, but when you go to turn it clockwise, the bolt just comes loose. So, you got to go all the way around again. This way here, you can go back, forth, any which way you want. So that's a handy tool. So anyway, we'll get started. What I'm going to do is do on this one here, rear cylinder, and so I'm going to get the piston moving in the upward direction on this cylinder. So I'll start with that. Okay, so I've turned the engine, so this piston is on its way up. So it's about, I don't know, halfway or 3/4 of the way up. Take your rope, it's about 5 feet, like I said, and just stuff it into the spark plug hole. Like so. Get it in there. And just keep stuffing it in there until you got, 1 inch or so hanging out. Okay, we're almost there. Okay, there we go. There. Turn the engine until it's snug. So now you've got the top of the piston, layer of rope, and the bottom of the head, or where the valves are. So the valves can't drop in. I mean, once you take these retainers and the springs off, the valves can just drop right in. And if you happen to forget, like I almost did once already, to put the rope in there and bring that piston up, you can take this apart and have the valve drop right into the cylinder, and then you're screwed. Then you got to take the head off to get the valve back, new gasket, new bolts, yada 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 yada, etc., etc. So you don't want to make that mistake. Okay, so we've got our valve stable here. So now we're going to take this stupid looking thing here, and we're going to see if we can hopefully get it in one try. And looks like the adjustment is way out. Oh, maybe, no. You see what I mean with all the moving parts and crap here? Okay. Another tool I forgot to mention, the magnet. Got to have a magnet. So, like, there's one. The other one. Those are the little locks that keep everything together. There's the spring. Now that was a successful one. I got lucky. So I'm going to clean this up and get my other parts ready, and then we'll come back and put the new one on. Okay, so before I put the new one on, I cleaned it up with some brake clean, you know, and took the old rubber. There's an O-ring here. It's a valve stem seal, like this one. I don't know if you can see that. I put a little bit of lube on it. We're going to put that on. It goes down to the second groove. There we go, and it's on. Okay, I'll get that other spring. Okay, so I compressed the new spring in place. Now we're going to put the locks in. This is a little bit tricky. Those are the two little locks. They basically end up, you know, making a circle. And there's a ridge at the top of the valve stem, and these are kind of tapered, so it keeps the retainer and holds the spring in place. There's the retainer. So that's what we have these little tiny pliers for. Oh yeah. Ugh. I knew it was going too good. Okay, let's try this again. Oh, come on. Gotta wiggle her in. Come on, baby, get in there. Like I said, she can be frustrating. Okay. Anyway, I think we're good. I beat my neighbor with a hammer to go away with the lawnmower. There we go. So she's on. So I just got to do that 7 more times. That one went slick. Believe me, I had a lot of problems on a couple of the other ones. Okay, so the valve springs are all done. You know, they give you 16 of those valve stem seals, and I get to the last one, and there were 2 seals left in the package. So I forgot to put one on. So luckily for me though, I had counted the seals when I was about here, so I only had these to do. So I figured it was probably this one or this one, and it was actually this one. So no big deal, caught it in time. I'm just glad I counted when I was around here. So if you have a leftover seal, you forgot one, so don't do that. Anyway, so while I was doing that, I had taken my lifters, well, yesterday actually, and I threw them in the oil bath that my timing set was in. So these have been soaking for a day and a half-ish. So they're ready to go in, and I've got to clean up my push rods and get them in. What I'm going to use to these push rods, you know, they're like a straw. They've got a hole in the center, and that's for oil to pass through. So a lot of them are plugged up. So I'm just going to take a, you know, turn on my MIG welder here. There, and it's feeding some wire out. I'll get about a foot of wire. I'll snip that off, and I'll run that wire through that hole. You know, put maybe a couple little kinks in the wire, and run it up and down through the hole and clear it out. And then I'll soak them in oil too after the lifters are in the engine. So yeah, that's where I'm at. Okay, so putting lifters in is not rocket science. I mean, you got your flat surface, it's in contact with the camshaft, so you want to get some assembly lube on there, and you just drop it in a hole like so, and do that for all of them. That's it, simple. Okay, so I've got my push rods here. I'm going to get them in. They're going in the same hole that they came out of. It doesn't really matter in this case because you know, the lifters are new, so these things have never played with each other before. A little bit of assembly lube there. Get that at a time. So this way. There. There we go. And I'll get the other set out and get them in, and then we'll get our rocker arms on. Okay, so I put all my rockers in place. There's not much to this. Pretty simple deal. Again, you can't go wrong. There's a little dimple for sits on your push rod. That's sits on your valve. You got a kind of a domed like spacer that fits in here with dome down, so that you have a nice flat surface for your nut to tighten it down. So all you're going to do is take a little bit of assembly lube, anywhere metal's on metal, drop that on, put your little spacer in, and that. Now we're not tightening any of these things down, we're just getting them kind of snug. and there's a good reason for that. So yeah, you want them to be loose, okay? They're all pretty loose, yeah. And that's it. So now all the innards are together. The next step would be to set the valve lash and preload, but that's kind of a video all on its own, so that'll be in the next video. But we're done putting all the innards together, which is big. That's good. So yeah. Okay, so there you go. The engine is pretty much built. I mean, all the guts are in it. Everything's tied together, dialed in, done. We just got to set those valves up. And like I said, you know, I could have included it in this video, but it's a bit of a lengthy process, and I think it would have made the video way too long. So we'll give it its own video. I'll follow this one up with setting up the valves, probably 2 days later. So yeah, after that, once that's done, it's just a matter of closing it in, bolting all the stuff on, the chrome, the intake, the fuel pump, water pump, and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, so basically the engine's built. On a sad note, I came out yesterday morning and there was a cat hanging around the front door of the garage, and I haven't seen old Chuck for 2 days, so you can connect the dots, I think. The good news is I like peanuts, and I got a big bag of peanuts to eat, so whatever. Such is nature, man. So I had a mascot for 1 day. I can't keep anything alive. Anyway, yeah, so once that engine's buttoned up, I can put it in a chassis, and I can muck out that whole corner and make some room in here. New subscribers, once again, thank you very much, and if you haven't already, please do subscribe, and feel free to leave comments down below. I always check them out and answer all of them. And she was hot today, man. I mean, really hot. 32 Celsius, so it's about 90, I guess. And so I did some sweating, so I got to replenish and keep hydrated. I know beer's not good for hydration, whatever. And the old hand, well, I don't know if you can see that or not, but it's a good gash, but it's healing up good. I didn't open it up at all today, so that's a good thing. And yeah, that's about it. So if you're not doing anything else, get out in the garage and build something, man. Later, guys.